Hello, my name is APenza and this is my Assignment 3 presentation on my gaming controller. My controller was aimed to be played with the game Call of Duty. This is a first-person shooter game and I have designed my controller specifically with this in mind. Before designing, I had to establish my problem statement, which helped me to ensure my design meets its intent, and it reads as followed. There is no controller designed to be compatible with a VR headset that uses a mobile phone. As this way of using VR is more affordable, there is a gap in the market for an affordable controller to be used alongside with the headset. During the designing and making of this prototype, I used various Miro maps to help develop and organise my ideas. Here is my first concept map which helped me to organise the audit. I started with the pros and cons of this design as I knew so far. Pros were that the design is interchangeable for left and right-handed people. The shape also mimics the real experience the game is trying to recreate. And furthermore, the shape allows the user to have more stability and therefore more accuracy in their aim. A con identified is due to the position the controller is held in, the user may experience some pain during long-term use. Next, I used an empathy map. This allowed me to really consider how the user is interacting with the design through their thoughts, feelings, and what they can hear and see. This led me to consider where the buttons are placed and what they signify to the user in regards to where to place their hands. Next was an infinity map. This allowed me to determine key categories to consider in my design. The key ones I determined were comfort, functionality, and effectiveness. I feel like my design is very effective in the sense that it mimics the experience in the game. Functionally, it is designed well, however this wasn't able to be carried out in my prototype. Comfort is something that could have been considered more as mentioned previously in regards to long-term use. I then completed a persona map. This allowed me to consider the typical people who would play this sort of game. In this case, I used myself as I play Call of Duty regularly. By considering this, I was able to identify my target market, and therefore different aspects of design like size and aesthetics. I then completed a journey map. This allowed me to consider the user's experience through various phases in their interaction, including connecting the controller, learning the controls, and playing the game in a long-term setting. Next, I completed a taxonomy map, which allowed me to consider my design as a whole. It included everything from its best qualities to its ease of use, to where and how it is to be used. Then I did my second concept model to help me reorganize the audit after making the prototype. As you can see, I added a problems encountered section to reflect the challenges I faced in prototyping. This included fitting in my Arduino pieces, considering the size and dimension of the controller, and the technical difficulties I faced trying to upload my code onto my Arduino. When designing, I had the game Call of Duty in mind constantly. As shown here is the game screen with the buttons labelled. I have included each one of these controls into a button on my design, as seen in the labelled sketch. Also notice the viewpoint of the game, which is mimicked when the user is holding my controller. For my prototype, I created a 3D printed version, as seen in the photos. As you can see in the second photo, it is an image of me holding the controller in its intended way. Due to the constraints of the 3D printer, the controller was a little bit smaller than I had planned. When coding my prototype, I encountered an error. This meant that I didn't get as far into coding my controller as I would have liked.